For our pinch pots, we will need 2 1-pound balls of clay. Got one here, and I've got one sitting just off camera here. We'll need a little bit of water. I've got it in a small little painter's cup here for me to work with. And we're going to need some textures, but we're going to talk about the textures in just a moment. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to take our block of clay and we want to start knocking the corners down. Just with the flat of our hand, we want to knock these corners down to where they start rounding over. You see that? So you can see over here, this isn't rounded over. Here it is. Not rounded, rounded. And we just want to go around and knock all the corners down until we get something that's starting to look a little bit like a hockey puck. Then we want to start knocking the edges down using the same technique, just the flat of our hand, sort of patting the edges down, right? We can do that on this other side. And as we're doing that, we should notice that the pound of clay is starting to get closer and closer to a ball. You see that? I've got some areas that are still kind of squarish. All I'm going to do is I'm going to take those areas and I'm just going to knock them around and knock them until they start getting round. Right? And at this point, I'm going all over. I'm twisting the ball every which way it needs to go just to get it to round. One of the things you want to watch out for here is you don't want to fold the clay over. So you don't want to have 2 flat pieces and fold them like that. You'll get a little air pocket right in the middle, and that will cause it to explode. Now, once you have your ball patted out, you need to decide which is going to be the top and which is going to be the bottom. For me, I think this is going to be the top. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold it in one hand, my left hand, and I'm going to press with my right thumb in just a little bit, just enough to make a little bit of an indentation. You guys see that? Just a little bit. And then I'm going to turn it about 90 degrees and press again. And then I'm going to turn it about 90 degrees, press again, turn it about 90 degrees, and press again. And you'll notice that I'm starting to get a little bit of a pocket in there. That's what we want. I'm going to keep doing that and keep pressing down. Each time my thumb's going to go a little bit deeper. Now, after a minute, after I get about halfway down, I'm going to start also squeezing with this hand. So I'm going to be pressing down and then also squeezing. Okay? Now you can see that it's already starting to make a bowl shape. Now notice it took me quite a while to get that squeezing just to get it to here. I'm not trying to move all the clay in one big, strong grip. I'm doing it a little bit at a time. You may also notice that I'm starting to get a little bit of surface cracking here. Easy healed. I'll just take just a dram of water, very little water, right? Just basically wet my finger and go over top of it. Now just that wet of the finger is enough to do the whole rim. All right? And that'll help heal those cracks. So now I'm going to continue to pinch, push down. I'm going to push to within about a half of an inch on the bottom. And then I'm going to widen it out into a bowl shape. Now, there we go. I've kind of got my bowl shape. A couple of things you want to watch out for is it's really easy to keep this bottom thick. So make sure that you do press it to where it's about a 1/2 inch or less thick. It's easy to not do that, so that's something you need to pay close attention to. The other thing is you saw me swap hands. It's totally fine to swap, go left to right, right to left. If you're right-handed, you're going to use your left hand way more in this class than you're used to, and if you're left-handed, you're going to use your right hand way more in this class than you're used to. But yeah, my hands were getting a little tired. The clay's a little stiff. Now, lastly, you'll probably see that I do have some cracks on the surface, right? I'm going to go ahead and take just a little bit of water and heal up those cracks. Right? Now I'm going to leave half of it without the water and half of it with the water, and then we'll do a close-up so you can see. So here is the smooth side with the water, and here is the cracky side without the water. Let's see if we can get that into focus. Yeah, so we got cracks, smooth. See that? Big difference. Now, once you have it pinched out, your walls are no thicker than 1/4 inch or so, and your bottom's no thicker than a 1/2 inch, you should shoot for 1/4 inch. But, you know, I'm not gonna fuss at you too much if it's only a 1/2 inch on the bottom. The walls do need to be only 1/4 inch thick, right? Once you have that, I want you to look around your room, your house, your garage, wherever your workspace is, and I want you to find yourself some textures. I want you to start playing around with some textures. I actually brought my little texture box here. I've got all manner of textures in here that I'm going to play around with. I got all kinds of stuff. I've got these little loofah pads. I've got these bolt patterns. I've got, you know, Pokemon stamps. Got all kinds of stuff. So I'm actually just going to play around, and I'm going to work some texture in on this pot. So I started on one side here, and I decided to go with just sort of a contemporary design pattern. I used these hexagons, and all I did is I had a large bolt, and on one side I had a nut screwed on, and on the other side I just had the bolt head. And to make the little circles, I used the nut, and to make the solids, I used the bolt head. And I just worked my way around, and I kind of like this pattern because it's contemporary, right? Design-wise, it's very modern. But it is also kind of fun, right? Who doesn't like hexagons? Right, look at that. That's kind of fun. So what I want you to do is I want you to go over and I want you to fill the space on the outside of your pot. I want you to cover it with a design. It doesn't have to be repeating like this, but it does need to have some design elements. It either needs to have balance, repetition, rhythm, something like that. All right?